At the end of last year, Ubisoft teased us with a new DLC that was heading in early 2018 called Operation Chimera. What was interesting though was what else was announced then? A temporary event called Outbreak. Not a lot of detail was given at the time other than the fact that it was going to be a very different experience from what you might expect in a Rainbow Six game, and that it would be some sort of co-op event. And today, at the Rainbow Six Siege Invitational, Ubisoft have shown off the very first gameplay of the new mode, and I have to say it looks very interesting and fun. And it's a far way away from what you'd expect from the base game as they promised. So the Outbreak event will start on March 6th and end on April the 3rd, and it's a 3-player co-op event that allows you and 2 friends to team up against an alien invasion in a Mexican town. And when I say alien, it's kind of like alien zombies. Sounds pretty interesting though, right? Now when you team up, you can pick 3 missions or maps: Junkyard, Hospital, and Resort. Each mission will have different objectives that you'll need to complete. The best example I can think of is Left 4 Dead. It looks very similar to that game. So you start together at a certain point, and then you need to complete multiple objectives while moving through the map until you eventually, and hopefully, come to the end and complete the area. Now objectives in this mode might be reaching a certain point, it could be protecting a charge, planting explosives, clearing enemies, etc., and it will depend on the mission that you're currently operating in. In Hospital, you'll need to defend a doctor while collecting samples and trying to deal with enemies at the same time. I'll be honest though, when this was first announced, I thought it would be a simple horde mode where you're defending against waves of enemies, but I've been pleasantly surprised with what's been revealed today. Also, the maps themselves look absolutely fantastic. Visually, it's really impressive, especially the lighting. I do think it's a bit of a shame though it's only 3-player co-op, because I find 3-player co-op experiences a bit of an odd number. Literally, I think 4 is the best for co-op, but that's just a small complaint. I imagine it's been balanced for 3 players though, so that's fine. In terms of operators, you can choose from. A select few have been picked specifically for the Outbreak mode. First up, you can pick one of the 2 new operators coming with Operation Chimera, so that's Lion or Finka, and then from the other operators you'll be more familiar with, you can choose Smoke, Ash, Doc, Glaz, Kapkan, Tachanka, Buck, Ying, and then finally the lowly Recruit, if you're really up for a challenge. And speaking of those new operators, Lion is a French operator who's got a drone called EE-1D, and he can use it to detect the position of enemy defenders in the PvP game, and he's briefly able to track defenders in the game if they're moving. Finka, on the other hand, uses nanobots to boost friendly players. Now when she uses her ability, her team gains a temporary boost of 40 HP, as well as quicker movement, better recoil, and even a faster reload speed. And get this, if this ability is used and a teammate is in the downed but not out state, they're going to get a free revive no matter where they are on the map. Now that is quite powerful, and I would imagine especially useful when defending against hordes of zombie aliens. It's going to really shake up the meta in the PvP game too. In Outbreak, of course, ensuring all 3 of you pick operators that work well together is probably the key to surviving here, because the waves of enemies come thick and fast. So what enemies are you going to be facing here? Well, there are 5 AI enemies that you'll encounter during Outbreak. First up is the standard grunt, and these guys are going to try and swarm you, so perhaps use suppressors if you're trying to sneak through an area. Oh, and they get stronger if they're alerted to your presence. And then you've got the breachers that can leap around and catch you off guard. They'll also be trying to explode right next to you, so keep your distance. When they explode, they will deal damage to you and to nearby enemies. And then you've got the router, who will annoy the hell out of you with spikes that will come up from the floor and hold you in place until you can kill the router. They've got this weird red glow around them, so in the dark they're pretty in your face. The Apex is the current 4th enemy type, and it will sit back but sadly buff other enemies around it while making you weaker, which doesn't sound like much fun, does it? But you'll also have to contend with them spitting in your face and blurring your vision. And finally, the Smasher, which as the name sounds, will quite literally smash you around, running directly at you, knocking you flying back. He can't see though, which is one benefit, and he's got a big weak spot on his back, so if you can avoid his blows and get behind him, you can deal a ton of damage. It does remind me a bit of the tank from Left 4 Dead or the Berserker from Gears of War. Now there are core Rainbow Six Siege elements here too. You can still barricade doors and reinforce walls, which sounds a bit like COD Zombies in some respects, but in Outbreak it seems that you're not going to stay for very long in one position, and as such the animations for reinforcing are a bit faster than in the base game. All being said, after this announcement and looking at gameplay, I do love the look of the new Outbreak mode. It's got a great visual style and I think it's going to be fun to play, but I'm a little bit torn. In one sense I'm thinking, why give this content for only a month and then take it away again, especially considering all of the new enemies, animations, huge maps, all the story elements, voice acting, etc. It seems like a ton of work, but at the same time I'm thinking that this will be very fun. I don't think I'd play it much beyond a few hours, and after I've completed all 3 missions, I doubt it's the sort of thing that I'd come back to too often, so I guess keeping players waiting and adding more down the line is a good idea. And once you've completed the missions on standard difficulty, you can then do them on a mode called Pandemic, which not only adds more enemies but also makes them much stronger. At the end of the day, I don't think Outbreak is aimed at the hardcore PvP Siege players, and that's fine by me. It's a bit of fun for a short while, and did I mention that you can play it on the test servers on Tuesday the 20th of February, so in a couple of days, give it a try. And that's all for a quick look at Operation Outbreak. I'll definitely be posting some live gameplay and commentary with my friends when it's available this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.